Joining us now, Cheng Li. He's the director of the John L. Thornton China Center and a senior fellow in foreign policy at the Brookings Institution. We want to welcome you to the broadcast. A lot to talk about here. Wang Yi talking about THAAD, as we heard in Su Yuting's piece. Rex Tillerson going to China, going to meet with President Xi. THAAD is really kind of a thorn in the side in this relationship. Where do you see this going?
Well, as Wang Yi said, that China faces very serious challenge. On the one hand, China wants to make sure that the Korean Peninsula will not develop a nuclear weapon. So in a way, that China has been very tough on North Korea. But at the same time, certainly China does not want the United States so easily use military force to deal with this very complicated issue. And also that China certainly strongly opposes that the U.S. use this THAAD system really undermine China's national security and China's deterrence power. So these are two complicated issues. And you also hear Foreign Minister Wang Yi said, this is very much like two trains moving to the same direction, almost a crash. So the red lights are already there. This tells us the urgency, sense of danger. So China needs to play a very important role because China is in the middle of this crisis. So again, China wants to be the part of the solution rather than a part of the problem. So again, China plays a very, very important role to make sure that through the negotiations, through dialogue, rather than just end up with this kind of a real danger. This is not only danger for China, not for Korean Peninsula, but for the entire world. So a lot of stake from Chinese perspective. And again, Foreign Minister, just like Premier Li said a few days ago, China wants on the side of peace, on the side of justice. So that leaves the room open for China play a positive role, constructive role in this very delicate situation.
Yeah, you say delicate. One would argue one's destabilizing, the other pushing for diplomacy. Let me talk to you about President Xi. Very inclusive. He praised Shanghai, met with them, asking to take a leading role in deepening reform. Also, Liao Ning talking about revitalizing the region's economy. We just showed how he was talking about poverty. Seems to be hitting a lot of these different groups and hitting a lot of different themes. Talk to me about that.
Well, absolutely. There's again from Shanghai, because President Xi Jinping is a delegate from Shanghai delegation for several years, because he moved to the central government from Shanghai. And Shanghai is also far advanced in terms of governance, in terms of market reform, in terms of private sector, and also the strong need to for the SOE reform. And for Liao Ning, this is the area that on one hand is the state-owned enterprise reform has a huge demand. At the same time that we know that a few years ago there's a very serious corruption case, and also the scandal in terms of election. So this sends a very clear message that the upcoming 19th Party Congress should really be clean, should not buy tickets and bribery and many other things. This is a commitment for anti-corruption campaign and also deepening the market reform in state-owned area. For Sichuan, certainly it's a poverty relief, and this is a major agenda. Actually, Xi Jinping achieved in the past 4 years, basically about 50 million or 60 million people got rid of poverty in the past 4 years. But he wants to continue to make sure that there will be more people live from the poverty. And this is not only the mission for China, but also this global scale. China wants to set up a good example for that very important task.
Tong Bo, basically going through a laundry list of what they're talking about. There's so many issues. You talk about poverty, you talk about pollution, steel overproduction, SOEs. As you look at the landscape, I mean, what are the major things that you think China should be tackling right away? I mean, it's a long list. What do you hit first? You can't hit them all at the same time, can you?
Well, but precisely, you need to deal with these challenges. It is all quite imminent. I mean, international relations is entered a very period of uncertainty, and you do need to find the best way to serve China's interests and for peace and for stability. But domestically, there's an economic situation, there's social issues, there's the environment pollution. I mean, the challenges are overwhelming, but at the same time, you look at these leaders, they are very much down to earth to address these issues one after another. But this also tells us for China in the near future, and maybe in the medium-term future, domestic challenges still will take the most important challenge. But again, China cannot ignore the international environment, and as we described the Korean Peninsula, but also there's a financial uncertainty, risk involved. As some countries really on the track to be the Chinese called anti-globalization, but China need to make sure China will continue to play an important role to promote globalization, to promote the right causes, whether it be climate change, whether it be international deal with the refugee issues, and etc. So again, China will gradually rise above the current situation to play a very positive role. So task is very high, but again, I'm glad that these issues are all addressed in the National People's Congress.
Cheng Li, always a pleasure talking to you. I know you've been on a lot of our broadcasts today. We certainly appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by.